Hi. So let's wash dishes together, and I also want to talk to you about renting in the UK and my experience on it, and also our experience on being foreigners and trying to rent in the UK. Well, that's not such a big issue anyway. Right. So we used to live in London for more than 10 years when it was only me and my husband, and then we had the kids, and we used to live in a one-bedroom flat. So we decided that it was time to move into a bigger property, obviously for space reasons really. In London it would have been impossible to be able to afford a two-bedroom house or anything like that. And so we decided to make a really huge move to where we are right now, 5 hours away from London. We had to do it because we said it's going to be healthier for the kids and it's going to be much better. There will be more space, and there will be enough space for them to roam about, especially because Caleb at that time, he was 6 months old. So yeah, we had to do that. We moved here in the area we are at. We are still in the same area. However, since we moved 3 years ago from London, this is our third house that we live in. We are renting. All these houses are private rents, as in through letting agency. When I was in London, it was very easy to get a house or a room rented through a private landlord, but here in the area we are at, it proves quite impossible to actually find a private landlord. I think that most of them, they just don't want the hassle of it, so they just go through letting agents. Anyway, the reason why we moved here from London was the first house that we lived in. Again, rented through a letting agent. And when we first saw the house, it was actually my husband who drove here in the area from London. I stayed there. I haven't seen the house before I moved in. And the agency was saying, oh my god, this is long-term house because the owners are in Australia, they are not looking to come back home, and all these other things, so you can live in this as much as you want, you know. That's what they said. And we said okay. Now bear in mind, we told the agency that we are moving from London, so we move into that house, and we made that big move from London for that house, right? So the agency knew that beforehand. They still told us that, oh my god, you can rent it for as long as you want, right? We had a 6-month short hold tenancy agreement, which is very common in the UK. Usually you only get this kind of contracts. It's very hard, if not almost impossible, to get more than 6 months contract on you know, at one point at the beginning of the tenancy. Especially letting agents, they usually have their policies around that. So, well, it usually works both ways. If you don't as a tenant like the house, you know, you can leave after 6 months, so you're not stuck there under contract. And on the other hand as well, if the landlord wants, or the owner of the house wants to move back into the house, you know, they can do that. We took it on a 6-month basis because they didn't give us any other option, but we came with the knowledge and understanding that this is a very long let, so you know. So we stayed there for, I think it was around 1 year or so, about that time. We already got to know our neighbors, the kids already got to know the neighbors. We moved Bianca to another school which was very close, because the school we moved her from London, she was bullied. The school didn't do anything, so we had to move her out of there into another school, which was just around 10 minutes walking from the place we lived at, from the first house in this area. We were quite happy there, honestly. It was like we've never rented such a big property in comparison to what we've seen in London. It's a huge space difference and a huge price difference as well. So all was good, and then we started having this kind of issues where the main bathroom, the tub, it was a jacuzzi style tub, We never used it because 2 weeks after, well, we used it a couple of times, but 2 weeks or 3 weeks after we moved in, we've noticed that the water is leaking from the tub upstairs in the bathroom to the right on the ceiling light downstairs in the kitchen. So we said, hold on a second, this is dangerous because the water is leaking straight on electricity. So we called the agency, and after a long while someone came to fix that up, but they did only patch it up because the owner of the house didn't really want to spend money on it, right? So they just patched it up. After a couple of weeks, we had the same issue again, so we stopped using that bathroom completely. We went on with it. We still wanted to stay in the house, but we kept on asking the agency if they can fix the bathroom, the bathtub, because it's dangerous. I mean, it's a fire hazard, really, because we also have kids there, and you never know what can happen, you know. And so we kept on saying that to the agency, and they kept on saying we will send someone, we will send someone. They never did again. And then after a couple of months of us calling the agency, we didn't call them, we didn't really call them a lot. We just called them a couple of times because we didn't want to get any issues with the house in terms of renting the house still, even if we were in that position. So we kind of let it go. But we also sent an email to the council when we saw that the agency is not doing anything. We sent an email to the council explaining the issue. And after the council got involved, we get a notice to leave the property. They gave us 1 month notice to leave. After we moved from London, we drove for 5 hours with 2 kids to that particular house because we loved the house. We had to move out. And we had to move out because we kept on saying about that bathtub. What's worse is, okay, we moved out, but before moving out, what's worse is that we found some documents which were left in the cupboard by the previous tenants. The agency kept on going about that they didn't know about any issue. There was no issue, no one was complaining about it. So we believed them like idiots, you know. You believe the agency because what's the point of the agency lying? Wake up, woman. People lie all the time. Yeah, but you know, somehow you always try to find the good in people and trust people. Anyway, we found some documents with a few emails. That's interesting. With a few emails from the tenants between them and the agency. This, now keep in mind, these were the tenants before we moved in, right? So the agency claimed they didn't know about these problems with the repairs and the water thing leaking. And we found that they actually knew, and then we also found from the same emails that the landlord did not want to repair. The landlord didn't want to spend money on their house, on their own house. I mean, I kept on wondering and I kept on asking myself, it's still your house, you know, regardless of you renting it out or not renting it out. It's your own house, so potentially you are destroying your house because you don't do the repairs when they need to be done. And then when there is a long time when those repairs are not done, they kept on adding up. And also the fact that people don't know that there are repairs to be done, they will be using that. Even if we move out and there will be new tenants coming in, they will be using that and they will damage it even more. So it turned out the landlord did not want to do any repairs on that house. Anyway, we moved out. We were really, it was a very sad time for us because we felt like they didn't think about us and the effort we made to move out from London. Here they only cared about the money that they made, to the point that even at the beginning of the tenancy the agency lied to us, saying that this is going to be a long let. So obviously I have no idea what the agency was expecting to get from this, because they knew that at one point we will, you know, figure it out that there's a damage there which is quite hazardous. I have no idea. So then, okay. So then we moved out into our second house, which was amazing. Oh my god, I miss that house so much. the amount of space you had for the price we paid for the house, it was unbelievable. And we loved it there. Again, when we moved into the house, the agency told us that this is again a long-term let, because the owners, they have another house and they bought this house only to retire, and they would be in like 10 years. So we said, oh, okay, that's fine. So if they only bought the house to retire, then we are okay, we are secure here. They won't let us go, or as long as we pay the rent on time, and we don't give them any issues. However, after 1 year of staying there, an accident happened to one of the owners, and they had to move back to the house. And again, we had to change everything. And now, as it happened, we moved out of that house into this house in January, in the middle of a pandemic, where we couldn't find a house to rent. Honestly, we've been struggling so hard since September until December to actually find a house to rent, which was not extraordinary priced. You know what I mean. You know that during this pandemic, people could buy houses cheaper because there was no how do you call it, no stamp to pay. Well, people buying houses cheaper in turn turned rents much more expensive, and with Brexit as well, made it impossible, I'm saying impossible, for us to be able to find a house to rent. Why am I saying impossible? Because if it wouldn't have been for the agency that we are with right now, accepting us just by transferring the file from the previous house to this house without doing any credit checks and income checks, then we would literally be homeless. And I'm not joking. I'm not joking, and I'm not exaggerating, because when we tried to get some other houses apart from this one. We found quite a few. At each turn, as soon as we called the agency to tell the agency, my husband is working full-time, I am a stay-at-home mom, because obviously our boy is 4 years old, so I can't go to work just yet. We get these benefits like like working tax credit from me because I used to work. Then we also get the housing benefit and all these things. And they heard our accent and they knew that we are not from the UK. Do you know how quick they hang up that phone? And they said, no, we don't take you. No, we can't take you. No, we can't take any benefits. No, we can't take anything into account. So just imagine this. My husband, he gets, after taxes, £800 per month. And I get all the benefits that I get, and my husband gets included. It works out to around £500. So 8 times 5 is 13, and so we get 1300 per month. The agencies, two of the local agencies, they did not accept us or any kind of benefit whatsoever. It seems that lately, I'm hoping I'm not wrong, but after I make this video, I'm going to double check, but I think that your income needs to be 10 times higher than the rent in a year. Which by our own calculations turned out that we have to earn at least £2,000 to be able to rent a house, exactly the same type of house that we rented before, just before the pandemic hit, right? So it wouldn't have been so hard. So then we said, okay, it's the income issue. Then we found another house with a different agency, and we asked, do you accept, I'm making brownies here, and we asked, do you accept a guarantor? And they said, well, we usually do accept a guarantor, but we can't accept a guarantor this time. So what does that mean then? You can't accept a guarantor this time. What does it mean? So they usually accept a guarantor, but they didn't accept a guarantor from us, who is a British person and a homeowner as well. And still works and gets a pension from a different country as well, and he works. So his income would have been more than enough to allow us to rent the property. And he agreed to be guarantor. The agency didn't accept that. Weirdly enough, they accept it all the time. Just on that occasion, they didn't want to accept it. And then what happened? I forgot my idea. So that was that with the house. Again, we were not accepted with any kind of benefits, nothing at all, nothing whatsoever. We even spoke to the council, and the council said, if need be, then we can give you 6 months rent in advance. So you can go and tell the agency that the council is approving 6 months, and they will give you 6 months rent in advance. So for the period of 6 months as a guarantee. Nope, the agency didn't want to hear about that. You know what's even worse? What's even worse is that we were not even allowed to go and see and look at the house. Not because of the pandemic, no. Because I found another house and I said, okay, this is it. It was quite cheap. It was very close to the school. So I said, okay, we should go for it, right? So I called the agency and I'm saying, this house is available. Can I see it, please? The agency starts asking me weird questions like, where are you from? Okay, I get that, it's fine. What's your earnings? What's your income? And I explained to her everything. And I said, can I see the house? And she said no, and she just hung up. Seriously? Is that how you deal with people? I mean, I don't know. Is it because she hears my foreign accent? Is it because she knows I'm not from the UK? Is it because of Brexit and they were scared that maybe I'm just gonna take the house, not pay the rent and leave the country? I have no idea. But honestly, we've been here for more than 13 years and never once have I had any issues with renting a house in the UK. The same thing goes with mortgage, you know. The same thing goes with mortgage, because you cannot take a mortgage nowadays. You cannot. But the banks or whoever is giving out the mortgages, they are not thinking that if people can pay their own rent, then definitely they can pay their mortgage, right? But now they make it almost impossible, if not impossible, to actually be able to afford to buy a house, which is horrendous. It's horrendous, really. We, as we are right now in this house, we just came here to live. We just started living here from January. It's now May, the end of May. We have to move out again. Now imagine how many times do we have to move out with kids? How many times do we have to pack, unpack, pack, unpack, pack and unpack? And on top of all, the worst thing is that we cannot find a house to rent because no one is going to accept us. So again, we will have to go through the same agency and accept whatever price they give us. In comparison, the previous house we lived in, we paid £775 per month. It was a 3-bedroom house. It had a conservatory, it had a really big garden all around the house, back and front, a double garage as well. And then from that house, we moved to this house, only a year difference. This is a 3-bedroom house as well. It's only got a single garage. It's only got a quarter of the garden that the previous house had. And it's smaller in size in comparison to the other house. And we pay £900. £900. 1 mile away from the previous house. Can you just imagine that and grasp that and think about that? So, in effect, as it is right now, literally, we can only afford, by their calculations and the income, a house which costs £500 per month. Because they don't take anything else into account. Now you tell me, which house can we buy for £500 per month? No, sorry, not buy. Which house can we rent for £500 per month? Can we rent any? By law, we need 3 bedrooms because we have 2 kids. Our eldest one, she's 12, our youngest one, he's 4. A boy and a girl, they need separate bedrooms, and we also need a bedroom. So we realistically need 3-bedroom house. Even if I would want to go into a 2-bedroom house, there's no agency in this area who is going to accept us. There is no place to rent for £500 per month here. Even a studio flat in this area, it is £600. and the council are telling us that we need to move to a cheaper property, that they found this property on Rightmove and I don't know what, and we need to move there. It wasn't a 3-bedroom house, the ones they found. We are trying to find houses every single flipping day and we cannot find any house, not because there are no houses, no, because the houses that we find, they do not accept us. So what can we do? I have no idea. We can't afford to pay here £900 per month since we moved here from January. It's been a really hard struggle, but we didn't have a choice because we didn't want to be homeless. So we didn't want to become homeless, not for us but for the kids. We didn't want to put the kids through this being homeless. It's no point just to get a house. There's no point in making yourself homeless, especially when you have kids. It's the worst thing ever. I'm just going to pour the brownie mix in the tray here. So yeah, this is my frustration, and this is, I don't even know what this is actually. I don't know. I guess I'm just asking you guys if you have any advice, any kind of idea. What can we do to be able to get a house, because no one is going to accept us. I can't go to work until September because Caleb is going to start school in September. Also, I have to find something local because I don't drive. So it's very hard. I don't drive. There's no reliability in buses. So it's very hard. I don't know what to do. I don't know what we are going to do, but we got at one point so upset, me and my husband, both of us, that we thought we are going to get into a depression. But we are better now. We need to be better now for the kids. But these things are not helping. They are not helping, and we have to keep moving. We don't have a home. There is no home. Whenever we try to make a home, we have to leave it and move somewhere else. Yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, this is actually the reality of us trying to rent houses in the UK. It's getting to the point where it's proving almost impossible to rent a house. And when we move from this house, we don't know where we will move, into which house. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye! The brownies are going in the oven. Yeah, let's just do this quick.